Flying monkeys aren't necessarily evil. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. In fact, flying monkeys seem to believe that they are on the side of everything right and good. And when they quietly sneak into your life, flying monkeys typically think that you are the misguided person. And they come to you to help the narcissist in your life, who you might know as the Wicked Witch of the West. When my father was still alive, but long after I had cut off contact with him, I got an email one day from someone who identified herself as a distant relative. She was a cousin of some sort on my father's side of the family. She seemed nice and chatty, telling me that she had just found me online and wanted to chat about family. She seemed nice and harmless enough, so I ended up talking with her on the phone a few days later. I was about to find out that she was really a flying monkey sent by my father. It turns out that my father had run into this distant relative at the home of another relative for Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that. She had started asking him questions, and he spun a story for her about how terribly everybody in his life had treated him. All three of the women who he had been with had left him for no reason. And he told her about how horrible his children were to him, about how he had done everything for them, but that all three of them had abandoned him with no explanation, absolutely no reason. And this woman apparently believed every word of it. She was getting in touch with me to tell me how terrible it was that I had abandoned him. She started out being nice, but then she eventually got around to what she had really called for. I briefly told her that all of us who had cut him off had had our own reasons, but that nobody had just cut him off without giving him warnings and chances to change his behavior. She wasn't interested in hearing any of that. "But he's your father," she told me. "I know he loves you, and he would never do anything to hurt any of you." This woman knew nothing about what had happened in my family or the reasons for what had happened. But she was determined to make it clear to me that all of us who had left him so alone were terrible people, and that we needed to just get over the past, in her words, and reconcile with him on his terms. I ended the call as quickly as I could, and I never talked to her again. I grew up watching the 1939 movie version of The Wizard of Oz pretty much every year, the way a lot of people I knew did. One of the most exciting scenes is when the Wicked Witch of the West sends her flying monkeys out to capture Dorothy and her friends. The flying monkeys in that scene were really scary to me, but it wasn't because they were evil. They were just blindly obeying the evil witch who gave them orders. And even though the metaphor is not perfect, the flying monkey has come to be a common term for those people who do the bidding of the narcissist in his or her victims' lives. Narcissists tend to be master manipulators, and they are eager to use people around you to get what they want. They sometimes use such flying monkeys as spies. Other times, they send these flying monkeys to deliver their messages quietly. Or maybe they use flying monkeys to spread gossip about you. There are a million ways that a manipulator can use these pawns in their efforts to get what they want from you. Flying monkeys are often busybodies who are eager to pass judgments about things they don't understand. They typically believe whatever the manipulative narcissist has told them, and they see themselves as agents of good who are out to help the poor, innocent narcissist. Sometimes they're trying to force you to come back to people who are abusive and dangerous to you. Other times they can actually be trying to hurt you because they can be trying to help the narcissist get revenge against the terrible people who have hurt him or her so much. And flying monkeys tend to feel very self-righteous about what they're doing because the narcissist has them convinced that he or she is the victim. In the mind of the flying monkey, the narcissist is the victim, and you are the one who is completely in the wrong. And you are not going to convince them otherwise. It's really hard to say why people become flying monkeys. Yes, it's true that they're manipulated by the narcissist, but the truth is that unless someone is willing to pass blind judgment about other people and is willing to insert himself into other people's business, the person isn't going to become a flying monkey in the first place. So even though we can say that the flying monkey is manipulated by a narcissist, nobody becomes a flying monkey unless he or she has a predisposition to be a meddler or a busybody. I've seen some flying monkeys making comments about my videos over the last month or so. There have been people who have attacked me and made judgments about what happened with my father. And there have been others who have actually attacked other people who have left comments telling about their own stories of narcissistic abuse. There is no place for that here. I've deleted the comments and blocked those people. They're welcome to hang out with other flying monkeys and form a fellowship of the miserable busybodies if they want, but we don't have to put up with them. And that's the best thing I can say about flying monkeys. As soon as you realize that someone has become a flying monkey for the narcissist in your life, or you even suspect so, it's very reasonable for you to stop trusting that person and possibly to eliminate him or her from your life. If you have been abused for years by a narcissist, the last thing you need is to have that person's minions trying to put emotional pressure on you to do whatever the narcissist wants. Just remember that you're likely to be surprised by who has become an agent of the narcissist in your life. If you have a narcissist ex-partner and some of the people who know him or her suddenly start trying to talk to you and trying to talk you into giving the person another chance when you know that this isn't right for you, you should probably assume that this person has become a flying monkey and is doing the bidding of your ex. If some family member starts trying to talk you into ignoring the abuse that you've suffered at the hands of a parent or some other relative, you might be dealing with a flying monkey. You are not required to allow these people to remain in your life. Your best option might be to get away from such people. Maybe just on a daily basis, or maybe long-term by moving away to avoid continuing the cycle of abuse that you have already gone through. If you are the victim of a narcissist, I can't tell you specifically what you ought to do about it. As I've said before, I think everyone who's gone through narcissistic abuse should get help from a good therapist, because the damage is often deeper and more severe than you realize at first. This was certainly the case for me. Just be on the lookout for flying monkeys whether you get professional help or not. If you find people in your life who try to pressure you to do what is in the best interest of your narcissistic abuser and what is the opposite of what you need for your own mental health, I hope you'll consider getting away from that person. When you have been abused and mentally bruised by a narcissist, you are vulnerable, and it's easy to fall for the tricks and traps of your abuser. Nobody deserves to be subjected to the abuse of a narcissist. And nobody deserves to face the manipulation of the flying monkeys who are working for the wicked witch in your life.